Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by a fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Machedo is the best.
All right, this video it'll either be titled 21 Types of Men to Avoid in 2024 or 21 Reasons Why Men Are Single. Now, the inspiration for this video came after I uploaded a video that was on 25th December, that is yesterday, the 10 women in 2024 you should never marry. So in this video, I stated what are the 10 kind of women you should not marry, the health traits that they have, or the drawbacks. But then there were some ladies, obviously, who said, Loy, how about balancing it out and telling us who are the types of men we should not marry? And then when I thought about it, obviously, I'm a father of a daughter, and I was an ex-playboy. So I thought to myself, okay, fine. So what are the types of men I would, not only my daughter, any young woman, I would tell her, avoid these 21 men. But then as I prepared the list, I realized, sheesh, these are not only the 21 health traits or the types of men you should avoid, but I also realized these are the 21 reasons why some men are single. So this list that I'm giving you answers two questions. Number one is 21 men you should not marry if you're a female. And it also answers the question 21 reasons why men are single. So watch this video and let me know your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree. If you're a woman, you let me know whether I'm right or wrong. And if you're a guy, let me know which point do you agree or disagree with, because I would really like to know your perspective. Okay, having said that, let's start. These are the 21 points. Quick introduction about me. Who am I? You will be wondering, like, suppose you're new to my channel. My name is Loy Machedo. I'm a personal branding strategist. I help people get well-paying jobs through personal branding in, Middle East, Dubai, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman. And also people book my services for coaching, consulting, where, issues, personal or professional problems are there and they can't share it with anyone and they want a very unique perspective. Okay, so that's about me. Details are put down below. So here are the 21 reasons. The first biggest reason, men to avoid is their job, that is their career. Either they don't have a stable job or they don't have a stable career. Now, the reason why you should avoid this kind of person is he has not got his shit together. He has not got his life together. He can't take care of himself. He can't stick to one job. He doesn't show stability. So when he can't take care of himself, he's not stable, he doesn't have a job, his life is not in order. Why do you want to dedicate your life to this kind of person? There are some women who feel, no, after I marry him, I can change him, I love and care. I can assure you this much, you can never change anyone, you can only change yourself. So the first kind of man to avoid is that man who does not have a stable job, who does not have a stable career, or who someone who, literally is terrible. His work, his career, either gets a terrible salary or he gets a terrible, he has a very bad career path. Now, I know what some men will say. Hey, so does that mean if you are not rich, you should not get married? I'm not saying if you're not rich, it's not about not rich. But if you can't take care of your own career, which is the most important thing, your career defines you. Your ability to earn will define how you take care of yourself, and then you're getting married to take care of someone else and the family and the children. So when you can't take care of yourself and sort your shit out, which is the most important thing, your career, Why are you taking on more responsibility? So that's point number one. So if you honestly ask me, you don't have your shit together, don't get married. You don't deserve to get married. And please, women, keep away from such men. Number two is education. Now, I know this one will be, people will just jump with all arms if the person doesn't have a stable education. Now, I know what you'll do. You'll point fingers at me, and I'll come to that because I'm a high school dropout. Okay. If a person has a degree, master's, and PhD, the more higher the level of education, the more stability the person shows in terms of character, in terms of discipline, in terms of a fixated goal. That is why people who keep studying and complete their education successfully, that really shows a person is very stable and they tend to have a very stable life. But now, I know what you'll say, Loy, but you dropped out. So what about you? So you're not marriage material. Yes, I will say yes and no, and I'll explain to you. When a person's young and they lack discipline, they lack focus, they can say, I have ADHD, I can't study, I can't focus. That means you do not have the character to manage yourself. Then how can you control yourself when you are having another person, another individual in your life whom you also have to take care of and whom you have to shut out all other distractions? See, you're so distracted you can't study. Don't you think you'll be distracted that you'll find other females attractive? And for people who cannot study, that means they're not stable. They can't sit down and discipline themselves. But does that mean every person who has dropped out of college or has not completed high school is bad? Not necessarily. But remember this much: when you're young and you give justifiable reasons why you can't complete your education, okay, then the question comes, so what is next? What are you going to do? How are you going to approach a company and give them your credentials? Will they ever entertain you? You can be rest assured, multinational companies will never, ever, ever entertain someone who does not have, let's say, a degree or a certificate or, let's say, a master's. In some places, you can't even apply if you don't have masters. So, and when you're young, you're still trying to figure stuff out. So that means your life is a mess. However, the only exception to this rule is, let's say the person has not completed their education, but is self-made, has a business, has earnings, has money. Fine, then I can understand there. That is the only exception. So where it came to me, when I was young and I was school dropout, I was trying everything. It wasn't the age for me to get married. Okay. It took me nearly 20 years to stabilize myself, and only then, now I have a stable marriage. So that's point number two. Point number three, the social media addict, as you call it, or the social media poster or updater, or sophisticated terms like Maven. That person who always has to post something on social media, either his six-pack abs or his muscles or his car or where he's going, or some very profound quotation to show his wisdom, or is constantly giving his opinion about A, B, C, or D. So now you will say, like, shouldn't you give your opinion? Yeah, you can give your opinion. You can give your opinion. But what does it show? It shows that you constantly want to be noticed. You constantly want to be relevant. You constantly want to make your presence felt. So now, if a girl marries a guy who always wants to make his presence felt, just imagine if the girl does not give him that importance. Then either he will seek importance and attention elsewhere, or what he'll do is, there will be fights. He will be demanding. Do you want that? And I'll tell you where this becomes extremely serious is where your job is not sorted out, your finances are not sorted out, your education is not sorted out, but you want to appear high, mighty, and knowledgeable on social media. And social media can be Facebook, can be Twitter, can be WhatsApp. And I'll tell you this much: the person who engages in social media and spends time there, whether TikTok or Instagram, he's wasting so much time which he can never get back into a virtual world. That shows where his priorities are. Even for that matter, a gamer whose career is not place, education is not place, money is not in place, but he's in the virtual world always being there, it's a slightly a red flag. That means he's not serious about life. Okay. That means he's still a young boy, still wants to have fun. Let him out. Number 4, the individual who is too much into politics, too much into celebrity news, too much into gossip, too much into other people's business. This is without a doubt a very feminine, like ladylike behavior. And the reason, see, always remember the reason why individuals focus on political news or other people's business is because they can't sort out their own shit or their own problems. Unless, of course, the person is 60 years old, retired, done it all, and now he has nothing to do, jobless, that he'll focus and comment on everybody and everything else. Okay. The only exception to the rule is if you actually make a living online giving opinions, or you're a news anchor, or you are an influencer, fine, that is different. But otherwise, if this person is constantly talking BJP, Congress, Republican, and Democrat, and uh, it's better to keep away from such a person, because you it doesn't pay you any money. It would be rather better you focus on yourself, your self development, your family. Spend your time, energy, and effort there. Don't talk about someone else's wife, someone else's kid. And normally, people who are very unhappy in life, they busy gossip about or send information or updates on other celebrities, politics, or whatever. They know they can't make any positive changes in their life, so they're busy focusing on changes in other people's life. And also that includes people who are busy trying to correct other people, and religious people. They will look at other people's flaws and they'll give them advice from this holy book and too much of God. Keep away, too much of a headache, such individuals. Okay. They will justify their behavior on everything that they read and that they'll share with you. Number 5, oh, this one is, I think women nowadays have this as default. The guy who doesn't know personal grooming and personal hygiene. Okay, I don't need to dwell much on this, but if a person is not doesn't have the awareness that he's smelly or he's stinky or he is what do you call that, there are some guys who are getting bald, but their hair is like all over the place. They don't even bother. Some don't even bother to get a proper beard or trim, especially when they work in the corporate world. Some, if you see their clothes, it's like, what the hell is he wearing? Some, it's just so disgusting. It's so pathetic when you meet an individual who just doesn't know basic personal grooming and hygiene. If they don't have that, please keep away. And obviously, a female cannot even, I don't know how some females even have these guys as a boyfriend, especially our Indians. I'm sorry to say, I'm an Indian passport holder. And when I see these Indians, I begin to think, oh my goodness, if he's so dirty and ugly up there, the minute he takes off his clothes and is going to have sex with that female, how disgusting it must be. Phew, I can't even remember. That is why in Thailand, the minute they know you're Indian, even a prostitute keeps away, because she knows what she is. Most of these guys don't even have a bath or shower, and it's not limited to only Indians. I've lately found out a lot of Westerners, especially when they go to toilets and all that. Oh, they never use water; they use tissue. Can you imagine eating something strong, smelly, and then not washing it with soap and water, but just tissue? This is, don't even want to get there. So anyone who doesn't have the basic common sense of basic grooming, I'm not saying wear expensive clothes, but basic grooming and manners, keep away. Number 6. Now this is the opposite end of the spectrum. The person who literally has to buy the latest and the best, whether it's gadgets, whether it's a car, whether it's clothes, whether it's branded items. Okay. And this you can further take it as a red flag if the person spends beyond his means. Okay. Let's say the latest iPhone comes. Every year the person upgrades iPhone 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every year the person has to update. Every year the person has to buy a new laptop, or new accessories for the cars, or sells and keeps buying new things. See, what this person is doing is making a very loud statement is, I need to be relevant, the latest, I want the best. So if he's doing this to obviously to show off, to make a statement, because between iPhone 13, 14 and 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, what, seriously, what difference, what megapixels and what difference will you find? Yes, there'll be slightly, if you take 11 and 12 compared, say 11, it'll be slightly slower than a 14. But if you're using for basic tasks, why upgrade? Why? So if the person is so impulsive that they have to keep buying and be relevant, just imagine if they get married to you, tomorrow they will choose a girl who's relevant or someone who's latest, someone who's new. They would get bored and tired very easily. So be careful of this. And also people who spend too much, like I told you, grooming is good and behavior is good, but too much grooming, too much on looking good, too much on surgery, especially surgery, a person who does their teeth and nose and this and that, it's a diva. It's not a family person. Okay. And they are so obsessed with themselves. You're just kept as a secondary, like they say, some people, they like to say, yeah, they tell me, oh, you married a maid and someone to serve you like a slave, So that is what they are actually looking for. They're not looking for a partner. Only exception here, once again, to the rule is if a person is doing their work, it's related to their work. Let's say a film actor or a news anchor, then your visual appearance does matter. That is totally different. Or let's say you're a technology buff and you have to share these updates or information online. Okay. And the only other exception is the person who is educating himself and studying. Okay. So that's different. Number 7, I know you will look at me when I say this. Yes, you're right. Because number 7 is that person who loves attention, who loves attention, seeks attention, and wants to show off. And for me, if you thought now I'm seeking attention, now I'm crazy about it, you should have seen me when I was in my younger days. It was not even a joke. See, obviously, these tattoos and all that are screaming, look at me, look at me, look at me. But I got them at the age of 30. And during that phase of bodybuilding, big muscles, of tattoos, of seeking attention, even if I would read a book, it would be to show off and brag and make a statement, whether it was public speaking, whether it was DJing, whether it was anchoring shows. I just wanted attention. And why do we want attention? We like to be rubbing shoulders with the who's who. And yes, along with that comes the temptations, from food to girls to opportunities. And that is not a person who is steady and stable to settle down with one individual. Remember, even if you see movie actors and actresses, there are very, very, very few celebrities who are true to their partner, who don't show off their family. In fact, if your partner is busy showing off the family in public, that is also a massive red flag. That's why you see Joe Rogan. Nobody, literally, even though people follow him, nobody knows how his wife look, how his kids look. Compare that with Kim Kardashian, who literally shows every nook and corner of her family, in even if she has to expose her children and their bodies, eventually she'll even do that. I wouldn't be surprised. So that shows instability. So be careful. The person who shows attention, and like I told you, me, during the days of my attention-seeking gimmick, from one second, there's something in my eye that is bothering me. Let me. During my attention-seeking days, of tattoos, muscles, and all that, my priority was so much of my appearance. You also have to keep in mind you have to spend a lot of money into, let's say, for example, bodybuilding, supplements, steroids, weight training, gym, then you need to have physiotherapy and all that, or massage or whatever. So that is not what a family person will do. Okay. And then all the money, all the resources, all the energy, all the creativity gets focused on one person and not the family. So please keep away from someone who loves attention or is in that phase. Okay. Today, it's a very different story for me. And I'll tell you this, if my daughter will choose someone like me in my 20s, guaranteed I would tell her, keep away from this guy. Keep him mile away. Okay. Number 8. This one is without a doubt the toughest one, but the most important one: savings. If a person doesn't have savings, it doesn't matter what kind of savings, even a little bit, that shows instability. Once again, the only caveat here is if the person is investing the money in his education or mentoring or growth or self development or his career or his future, that's an exception. Or he has investments, fixed investments like a house or something where he's putting in money. Okay, so the savings are all going, then that is okay. All right. So, but on the other hand, if a person doesn't have all this, no mentoring, no coaching, no self development, no education, no studying, no assets, no house, no nothing, and still the person doesn't have any savings, living hand to mouth, then you better keep away, because if he's living hand to mouth, I mean, you'll have to literally earn to support him and take care of him. So if that is what you want, then go for it. Otherwise, and especially keep away for someone who lives beyond their means and who has credit card, loan, and other financial instruments and deep in debt. That is the biggest red flag. Keep away. And if the person's still living a normal life and showing off, even though they are in debt, I know one guy who had 11 credit cards. He was paying literally, and he was literally taking money from here and putting it there. I told this female, don't get married to him, even though he's handsome, everything. She didn't listen. Today, they are paying the price. He's in jail and she has to take care of all his debts. Anyway, number 9. Yes, this people will not like me for it, but someone who drinks alcohol. Alcohol is a stimulant. Alcohol, it gives you pleasure. Now, here once again, the caveat, the exception. If a person drinks wine, okay, that's all right. Drinks one beer occasionally, fine, okay. Whiskey is how much? Okay. So there the red flags start to grow. But where it proves to be detrimental is where the person always has to drink to relax or to sleep, and then that becomes a habit. And remember this, people who drink alcohol, it gives them pleasure, relaxes them, releases inhibitions, and then they end up doing a lot of things which they would never do when they were sober. Remember this much: I got sexually raped and molested by a very loving, caring, genuine human being. But once alcohol went into his system, he would release that demon or the darkness from within. And I've also seen so many people who are very cool, calm, composed, very nice individuals. The minute they drink alcohol, they become very violent and they tend to do things. And remember, alcohol is one of the core reasons why people get accidents or incidents happen or violence. So anyone who drinks alcohol and alcohol is part of their life, please do yourself a favor, keep away from them. Number 10, the person who loves too much sex or very creative sex, then this person is a sexual addict. And see, always remember, a person who does anything too much, no, whether it's sugar, whether it's food, whether it's anything, is not good. And when the person likes too much of creativity, if you are not able to provide this to them, they will seek it elsewhere. And I don't think that is what you want. And remember, when they seek it elsewhere, the chances of STD and all other legal problems can also follow. So anyone who likes too much sex, I'm not talking of romance. I'm not talking of that initial romantic phase, but anyone who indulges too much into romance and the same, it's not sustainable. You'll not see people who are 40 or 50-year-old smooching, kissing, hugging, pressing, this, that, and like, 20-year-olds who do it like horny bunnies. Okay, so keep that in mind. Too much sex or too much creative sex. Number 11, the individual who has to keep many friends, has to socialize, has to be out, has to go for parties, has to be, always something happening in their life. This person doesn't have their priorities in place, because when you go for parties, when you go meet people, you have to dress up for it, you have to be prepared for it, you have to give your energy for it, you have to be with them, you have to act like them, you have to please them. When are you going to spend the time for your family? When are you going to spend the time for yourself? When are you going to be with people? That is why people go to bars and pubs and this and that. That means they don't see their home as the place where they can learn and grow and evolve and recuperate. A person who likes to be in bars and pubs and socialize and all that, it's a no. And remember this, that is where you get all the distractions. Okay. So that's not a good thing. And people who like to mix with other family, I know there are some people who love to be with families and be with their relatives. That is also not too good because you have to focus on yourself. The reason why people love to be with their families and they're seeking validation and they like to show off and they love the attention. There are lots of them who like to conduct parties and be at the party and make things happen and celebrate other people's birthdays and anniversary. That person is not focused on their own family, and the reason for that is they're not happy. If you're happy, you'll focus only on your family. Okay. Number 12. This one is red flag, massive. A person who shows one kind of personality with you, one kind of personality with their parents, a totally different personality with their friends, and completely different personality at work. So some of you might say, oh, that person's wearing different hats. No, I'm not talking of manage. Let's say, for example, maybe with my daughter, I'll be very loving and soft, but with my clients, I might be, professional, prim and no, I'm not talking of that. That is common sense. You can't be huggy, lovey-dovey with your customers, clients, and colleagues. Okay, but rather, I'm talking of he is so amazing when he is with his colleagues. He's like my stepfather. He was such a polite, loving, friendly person at work. Minute he would come home, he would be a fucking ruthless animal and abuser, especially towards me. And you know, he would be a bully. He would be. I mean, he was a bastard of the first order. But the minute he would meet his colleagues and bosses, yeah, and also people who are two-faced, when they see someone rich, very nice, very polite, and you know, behind their back, they're like bastard and this and that. Two-faced individuals, like they'll say one thing in the front, one thing at the back. So two-faced behavior, which is not consistent, please keep away. That clearly shows there'll be something with you, behind you something else, and with when they are with someone else, maybe they'll go to their lover and be very caring, very loving, but with you, very cold, calculated. You don't want that. You want someone who you know for a fact is predictable and is stable. Okay. Only caveat here, once again, is if the person is an influencer, actor, media person, or like YouTuber like me, yes, you have to keep a high degree of energy, or you have to be charismatic. And when the camera is off, obviously, I'm not like, hey, my wife, how are you? This. No. So that's the only exception there. Because remember, this is entertainment or this is a public persona, then there is a private one. So just keep that in mind. Number 13 is, this is very common, especially with the Indians, a person who is a simp to the family, a person who is afraid of his mom and dad. See, respect is something else. Being afraid of your mom and dad is something else. And literally, I think the most pathetic one is where this person has to literally take mom and dad's permission for every rubbish. Like, when they're having sex with you, they're not going to seek permission from anyone. But when it comes to marriage, no, I have to ask my mother. No, I have to ask my father. No, it was their last dying wish. Like how one of my exes told me, no, my father's mother's dying wish was for me to marry who they wanted. A person who's simp, who's afraid of their family, and even if they are afraid or shy or they're not introducing you, that is a massive red flag. Means they're having fun with you, but they don't want to acknowledge you with them. That is a clear indication they're not planning to have a future with you. They're just using you and they're going to dump you off. And a person who's not a man with their family, are you looking for a man or are you looking for a mouse? That's what you need to ask. So anyone who is afraid of their mom and dad in the guise of respect, please keep away from them. You need to learn to be a fucking man or woman with your family. Talk openly. If they can't talk openly, no. Number 14. Now, these are two extremes. Either the person is too talkative, hyper talkative, I know, look at me, or is so silent that you just don't know what the person's thinking. Now, why the two extremes? See, if when during my younger days, I used to talk like non-stop. Now, obviously, it was because I had ADHD, I had hyper energy, plus I had to take sugary stuff and energy drinks and steroids and all that. But it was very clear that I was constantly seeking it. I had to be right. I had to be the center of the party. The limelight had to be on me. So that was clear indication I was not ready to settle down. I always wanted to be larger than. So obviously the girls had to be hot or the latest girl or whatever. Okay, so that is not the person you want to be with. That is why celebrity stars, their marriages seldom work, because they're focusing the limelight on them and they want to be the life of the party. But now the absolute opposite is a person who's quiet, does not talk at all. Now, I'm not talking of an introvert. I'm talking of the person whom you just don't know what he's doing. You begin to wonder, where did you go? What did you do? Nothing he'll talk to you. Now, it's not good to ask because obviously you're not the mother. But when there's no, when the person keeps everything a secret, I mean, would you want to trust such an individual and open up your life to them? So, too hyper talkative or doesn't talk to you at all. And remember, not talking to you at all means not interested. So, if you send 10 messages and the person just sends one, I think that's a red flag enough. Number 15, the person doesn't talk to you about marriage or a long term relationship or is very vague. Like if you ask them about marriage, they don't give you a definitive answer, either yes or no. Okay. And if they say yes, immediate action, not, yeah, we'll see, we'll talk about it. If they go vague like this, no, please keep away. That means they're just playing around with your hopes and dreams and feelings. And if a person doesn't give you a direct no, that means the person is just taking you for a ride. Now, I'm very well aware that there are a lot of relationships where they don't get married, but they prefer being with the person for a long term relationship. But here, then remember, then there is no skin in the game. Like this, you don't have anything to lose. And if you're a female and you're with them for 10, 20 years, your value goes down, his value will remain or go up. And the last thing you'd want is him getting a younger girl, maybe 20 years younger, and saying bye bye to you. Now, I know what you say. That can happen during marriage. But during marriage, at least there's a binding legal contract between you two, and there are people involved. But if you don't have that, nothing to lose, right? So, no plans for marriage. Number 16, this one I find very disturbing. A person who keeps in touch with their ex, who has to meet up with their ex, talk to their ex, curious about their ex, checks about their ex, unstable, keep away from this person. It's a complete no-no for me. It's like someone vomited something out and then is going, like dogs, when they vomit, then they go sniff it with all that mucus, everything, to see can they eat it again. Very disgusting individual. Someone who keeps in touch with their ex, no. If they say just friends and all that, remember, okay, just friends, but then maybe he'll be at her apartment and something will happen. How do you know? Maybe she is alone and frustrated that day. Maybe he is feeling a little horny. Something can happen. Are you willing to take that risk? So if someone breaks off with the ex, it has to be completely off limits. Finish. Others no. Number 17 is doesn't talk about you to anyone, doesn't reveal your presence in his life to anyone, doesn't want to acknowledge that you exist. I know a lot of females, even my ex-wife, sorry, not my ex-wife, my current wife, both her ex-husbands never revealed that they were married to her. They never showed any photograph, any image of them together. They would always show single, or they showed their office colleagues. Now, the only caveat here is, like Joe Rogan, he doesn't like to show his wife and kids on social media because he's a public figure. But I'm not talking of social media. I'm talking of, like, the person doesn't want to be seen with you publicly. Has to keep it hush hush secret. They will be with everyone else publicly, but not with you. Or they will not introduce you to their family members or people who are important. That means the person's ashamed or the person is doing something wrong. Keep away from this person. You don't need such an individual. If both of you are doing that same game, it's different. Okay? But if that person, the guy especially, doesn't want to acknowledge or be associated with you, please keep it. And same for guys. If the girl says, no, I don't want to be seen in public with you, there's no future. They're just having the temporary fun. Okay? Number 18 is, this I think is by default, if a guy is young. Okay, because remember, when a guy is young, he doesn't know what he wants. There are so many things on his wish list. If a guy is young, it's not the time, it's not the place. He will change. I can assure you, people change. Remember, when you're 20, you're different. When you're 25, you're different. When you're 30, you're different. 35, you're different. 40, you're different. 45, you're different. 50, you're different. You evolve, you change, your tastes change. People who loved cartoons don't like cartoons when they grow up. Who like chocolates, they don't eat chocolates. Maybe they never touched alcohol, now they are, alcoholic. So people change, okay? Even the TV programs we see, we lose interest. So remember, someone who's young, it's not the age. Avoid marrying or making plans for someone who's young. And if you're young and you're wondering why you're not married, it's not the age to get married. Number 19, someone who cannot control their anger issues, who have a temper problem. This can be dangerous because in with impulse, and if you are strong, you can end up hurting, harming the person. And maybe if you don't physically hit the person, let's say you're driving in road rage, one accident, it can cost people their lives. I've seen this. It's, in fact, I made a video where I nearly had road rage and my wife was the baby in the 8th month. And because I was driving like mad with anger and I hit the brake, she nearly fell off the bike. Oh, that is something I never forgot, and I never use my temper, especially road rage, after that. Okay, so anger issues. A person who cannot manage his anger, it's dangerous. Be careful because you just don't. And even if you're a man or woman and you start breaking things, no, I'm sorry. Number 20 is communication. If there's no proper communication between both of you, I'm not saying talking non-stop, but talking what matters, knowing how to articulate problems and issues. Like this, don't sleep without having spoken things out. If a person cannot communicate his feelings, his dreams, his ambitions, his goals, his behavior, can't address issues and problems that you have, why? Do you want to marry someone who, or spend time with someone who just doesn't talk to you or doesn't tell you what matters? Yes, I do. I'm aware that men have this tendency, when they have a problem, they keep quiet and they like to solve the problem. I'm like that. When I have a problem, I like to tackle the problem. But after the problem is sorted out, I communicate. Or sometimes I tell my wife, listen, I have something up my mind. Can you please tone it down, keep it down? Communication is important. Even if they go out, they have to inform. Okay. So communication. And remember, without communication, a relationship doesn't stand a chance, because as you get older, the only thing that remains is communication between partners. And last but not the least, the final one is the person is too ambitious. The person wants to be a billionaire, millionaire, person wants to be a CEO, whatever. Now, you'll say, like, oh, so Loy, shouldn't they have any goals? No, no, no. I'm not saying having goals is bad, but when a person is completely obsessed about it, okay, that means they can't dedicate time, effort, money to you. Now, here again, the exception is age. When the person is in their 20s and they're hyper ambitious, hyper whatever about their goals, dreams, they will sacrifice anything and everything for that goal or that dream. Okay? And along with the success that will follow comes temptations. And I'll tell you, it's very hard to keep temptation away. But when you get older and you're still ambitious, there you will be able to control yourself in terms of temptation, at least compared to youth. I know a lot of men who are in their 50s who still are tempted with women, but it's much better someone in 50s than 20s. And today, even today, I'm ambitious where my brand is concerned. I'm obsessed about work. I'm a workaholic, but I'm not the kind of guy who was in my 20s who throw the women on the streets, say bye bye, divorce. No, today I know I have a family. I'll keep them. I'll make sure that they are with me and I'll protect them. So, yes, my brand is important, work is important, ambition is important. Me, I made it very clear to my brand, my work, my everything is important first. But she's also aware I'm doing this not only for me, but for the family. So these are the 21 kinds of men to avoid in 2024, okay, or marriage, or the 21 reasons why you may be single as a man. So I've compiled this. Let me know, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? I would really love to know what you have to say. And feel free to disagree. And when you're quoting or sharing something, please put the timestamp so I know which point are you speaking about exactly. So if I'm wrong, or if I feel I need to explain, then it becomes easier. All right. Good, bad, ugly. Feel free, comment down below. This is me signing off. You guys take care.